Welcome back to the Bryan Devore Connection. I'm your host, Bryan Devore. Unfortunately, Parkinson's disease affects a lot of people here in San Diego County, throughout the nation, in fact, and it's on the rise. We have a lot of services available for people who have Parkinson's, but what about the people who know people with Parkinson's or who are caring for people with Parkinson's? Here to talk to us today about that is my friend, Dan Sweiger with Brightstar Care of Carlsbad. Dan, thank you so much for coming back today.
Awesome. I appreciate the opportunity to come speak about Parkinson.
Yeah, my pleasure. You were here before talking about your company, and we'll talk about that as well. But specifically, you're doing a lot of work for people with Parkinson's right now, and so we want to talk about that. First, let's talk about Brightstar Care of Carlsbad. What is Brightstar Care of Carlsbad?
So Brightstar Care of Carlsbad is the #1 rated home care agency in the state of California. We provide non-medical assistance to people, helping them with activities of daily living so that they can remain home longer and safer and live their full life.
Got it. Okay. And you and I have known each other for about 7 years, I think now. So you've really done a good job of growing Brightstar Care of Carlsbad. What made you interested in getting involved more with Parkinson's?
You know, it was kind of just an accidental thing. I noticed we had several clients that had Parkinson's, and I didn't feel like I knew anything about it. So we, went online, kind of learned a few things. Noticed there were some support groups, and I asked the Parkinson's Association if they would allow me to come. They don't allow vendors into support groups, right? They don't want people trying to sell them. It's a safe environment. But I explained that that wasn't the role I was there for, that I wanted to learn so that my team could become better caregivers for the people we take care of. And they said yes, and they let me in. And that was like 3 years ago. And one of the first presentations I saw there was someone speaking about the challenges for people with Parkinson's when they go to the hospital, and how there was all these things that were needed and people weren't addressing it. And I was sort of horrified and had that somebody needs to do something about this feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've always thought, when you say that, somebody really needs to be you.
Right.
So, just started getting more and more involved, and realizing, because Brightstar is a home care company and we are in position to help in some ways that others aren't. So we just kind of went from there, and I've just been more and more involved in that community ever since.
Yeah, and I've seen you doing presentations at communities and senior centers, so you're definitely getting out there, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this video, is to help get the word out there. What are some facts that people need to know about Parkinson's?
And especially talking not necessarily to people who have Parkinson's or their spouse does, they already know all these things. This is really for those of you out there who might know somebody, a neighbor, a friend, some basic things that will help you understand what they're going through. I guess first quick thing is everybody sees the motor symptoms, they see the tremors, they see those things, and they think Parkinson's affects your muscles. It actually doesn't. Parkinson's affects your brain and interferes with the way your brain controls the muscles. And the important thing about that is it affects the way your brain controls all of your muscles, not just the ones you see, your arms, your legs, but your stomach muscles and digestion and everything. So that's one thing that people don't realize. It's that disconnect between the brain and the body that people are going through. They think they're taking big steps when they're taking tiny steps, which makes them unstable and likely to fall, that kind of thing. I think one of the other things, sort of following along on that, everybody sees the tremors and those things, and those are the most obvious symptoms. The ones that often have the biggest impact on the quality of their life are the non-motor symptoms. So the way it affects your brain, right? So it can be mental health issues, it can be cognitive issues, it can be dementia, it can be swallowing issues, constipation, drooling, difficulty controlling your body temperature, difficulty controlling your blood pressure. There are all these things that, and it's important to know, not everybody gets every symptom, not everybody progresses the same way. I think we all know, like when it comes to dementia, we all get that everybody's dementia journey is completely unique, right?
Right.
Parkinson's is the same way. Everybody's Parkinson's journey is completely unique. They don't all get every symptom. They don't all get them to the same severity or at the same time. It's a disease that you can live with for decades sometimes, and it will progress very differently for everyone. So, everyone's sort of in their own version of it and dealing with their own set of symptoms at any given moment. So
Right.
I think those are a couple of things. The other thing, those two are really a wind-up for the big thing, which is Parkinson's can be a very isolating disease. And not just because it's more difficult to get out there and do things, it becomes more difficult to communicate, of course. But honestly, the people with Parkinson's and their spouses, sometimes it becomes so absorbing. It absorbs all your energy and your time and attention. You just sort of lose your personal connections, both the person with Parkinson's and a lot of times their spouses too. And I think, we all know, we've seen the research, losing social connection is actually very bad for your health, besides the fact that it's no fun.
Yeah.
So, I think the reason I get out and speak a lot is to try to raise awareness of some of these issues and then help people understand how you can help maintain your social connection. I'll tell you a quick story, because this is one that really was a big aha moment for me. I was talking to the spouse of someone with Parkinson's, and she was talking about how her husband had these buddies, and they played pickleball every week, and he got diagnosed with Parkinson's, and he didn't want to tell anybody. But as it started to progress a little bit, he was missing more shots, and his friends were like, dude, come on, man, you got to make that shot. You always make that shot. What's wrong with you? Right? Because they didn't know.
Yeah.
So he got embarrassed, so he stopped going. And, that gap just widened there, and his wife finally got him to come out and admit to his friends that he had Parkinson's, and that's why that was happening. And of course, they were like, oh my God, why didn't you just say so? Come on, we don't care if you miss shots, right? It burst that bubble and got him back connected with all his friends when that could have easily just kept going away and disappeared.
Right.
And I think that was a big aha moment for me of, that was great that she got her husband to reach out, but I think the more people understand some of these things and hopefully can reach out more, accommodate more, they can help not lose those connections. It's important. Nobody wants to lose your friends.
Right.
And, it's important for everyone to maintain your social connections.
Yeah, for sure. So for those of us who know people with Parkinson's, you and I talked before, there's really 3 things we can do to help. The first one is adapt. Talk about that.
Sure. Try to break it down to sort of 3 simple things. If you have Parkinson's, it's harder to get out there. Basic things take more of your energy. You might not want to go out to lunch because you're afraid you're going to knock your glass over because of the tremors, and that might be embarrassing. So it's important, if you have a friend or a family member with Parkinson's, to accommodate their needs, make it easier for them. Don't invite them out to lunch, invite yourself over to their place.
Yeah.
They tend to, people with Parkinson's, again, the day kind of saps your energy. Your best time to catch someone with Parkinson's is morning or early afternoon. Later in the day, there's at least a 50-50 chance that they're going to have to say at the last minute, you know what, we're just not up to this. So I think just adapting, making it easier for them to connect with you. Don't make them come to you, reach out to them.
Right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Normally it's rude to invite yourself over, but in this case it makes sense. Number 2, empathize.
Empathize, yeah, right. Look, nobody wants to be defined by their disease, right? They're your friend, they're your family member, they're your neighbor. Don't ever forget that. You want to accommodate their challenges, but you don't want to obsess on them. You don't want to focus on them. You don't want to define them by that. I always say, they need your empathy. No one needs your pity. That's just a horrible feeling, right? You
Right.
poor thing. I'm so sad for what you're going through.
Right.
No one wants that. But so there's a definite line between empathizing and accommodating versus pitying, infantilizing.
Right.
A lot of people with Parkinson's have real challenges communicating. Their voice gets very soft. Some of the cognitive issues may make it a lot slower to process things and be able to get them out. So you have to be patient. You have to empathize. But don't make them feel like less than they are. They're your friend. They're your buddy. They're still
They're
that
still
same
that
person.
same person.
Yep.
Right. Third thing is educate.
Yep. I think, again, listening to this podcast is a great start. We're lucky here in San Diego. There actually are a lot of resources for people with Parkinson's. So there's just a lot of places you can go and learn a little bit more. The number one place I would recommend is the Parkinson's Association of San Diego's website. It's amazing. It literally has everything. It has a ton of information. There's also programs you can make your friend or neighbor with Parkinson's aware of if they aren't already. So the Parkinson's Association, for example, has a mentor program. People who've been through it or are going through it, who've been down that road, they have dozens and dozens of mentors that you can just sign up and have somebody to turn to, whether you're the caregiver or the person with Parkinson's, someone you can turn to for advice and help. They actually have a free equipment program. So people donate used walkers and wheelchairs, and if you have Parkinson's, they can help you get some of that equipment free. There's just so much there. There's also, I think this is really important. I mentioned in the beginning that people with Parkinson's have a lot of difficulties when they go to the hospital. That could be an entire other show.
Yeah, we talked about
so we won't go down that road. But what I will say is the Parkinson's Association just came out with a medical preparedness program. And basically what it is pre-preparing a lot of information, a doctor's letter, and some other things so that when you have that emergency or whatever, you got to go to the hospital, you're prepared and you can help the hospital help you. So that's on the Parkinson's Association website as well.
That's awesome.
And then there's other resources, you can again help people be aware of. There are Parkinson's specific exercise programs. Rocksteady Boxing has one. Actually, one of the best things someone with Parkinson's can do is ballroom dancing, believe it or not.
Okay.
There's a ton of research. It works the mind and the body in rhythm, in step. And there's a program called RX Ballroom Dance. It's actually at, I think, 15 different places in Southern California.
Okay.
But specially trained ballroom dance teachers with special classes only for people with Parkinson's. So who cares if you, and they adapt to if you can barely stand versus if you're just brand new into the disease and you're still moving around well.
Mm-hmm.
They adapt, and it's great exercise. It's great for your brain, and it turns out it's a lot of fun. So there's just many programs like that. And again, the Parkinson's Association. The last one I'll recommend quick is there's a website called Davis Phinney, and it's Davis, and his last name is with a PH, P-H-I-N-N-E-Y. So davisphinney.com. They have a free book that anyone can get. It's called Every Victory Counts. But basically what it is, it's the encyclopedia of Parkinson's. You can download a PDF, or they will ship you a physical book free. And it's just a great reference guide. Just, you can look up any symptom, you can look up any of these issues and find out a little bit about it. So, if you know someone, you know what they're dealing with, you can go learn a little bit more about it. Easy peasy, and it's free.
Good to know. There's a lot of great resources available for people who know people with Parkinson's. Dan's information is on the screen, so you can learn more about Brightstar Care of Carlsbad, his phone number, his website. Also, give him a call if you need more information about these services that he's talking about. Again, if you know someone with Parkinson's, great resources available. Dan, thank you so much for coming and sharing this today.
Thank you so much. And yes, please do call or email me or whatever. I'm always happy to try to help people.
Yeah, you've always been a great resource.
Thank you.
Brian.